Hello everyone, Jason and Leia back here again, and today we're going to be talking about Helluva Boss Season 2 Episode 9, Apology Tour. This is a long-awaited episode that a lot of people who are fans of the show have been looking forward to, and I was also really excited. I just wasn't sure how it was going to pan out, because Season 2 has always been like a hit or miss season. I mean, I like Season 2, but definitely those early episodes are nothing compared to the episode we're getting now. And I think with Apology Tour, it's just continuing on that winning streak that this later half of Season 2 is forming a narrative of sorts that's having a through line that is so far really compelling. Now, I'm gonna start off with my positives first and I'll get into my negatives later, because overall I have to say that I really enjoyed this episode. And let's just get the obvious stuff out of the way. Of course the animation is going to be beautiful. In fact, I think animation wise, Helluva Boss is a lot more appealing to me, mostly due to the camera angles, the movement, the vibrant colors and setting designs that the show has is a lot more lively to me than something like Hazbin Hotel, which looks beautiful in its own right, but Helluva Boss has something extra within that animation and style that is not found in Hazbin Hotel. I think because she has more, Vivian Madrano has more freedom with a web series and she could do whatever she wants and make the episodes as long as she wants, then she could have the pacing feel a lot more, how do I say, it's perfected a lot better here. Pacing feels more natural here than in something like Hazbin Hotel, which has like required 24-minute runtime, where here she could just make it 21 minutes or something like 31 minutes and it could flow just fine as she wants. And I think with this episode, the pacing really worked well. It's a lot more slower paced here. There's a lot more focus on conversations and arguments that the characters will have with each other. And so a lot of this episode is focusing in on those moments and it never rushes them along, which helps the performances breathe so much life, especially from Brandon Rogers as Blitz. He is once again fantastic as this character, not just in the funny moments but in the dramatic emotional moments. He's been impressing me all throughout. I've always loved his comedy stuff, but as a dramatic actor, I think he is showing a lot of promise with this character. Now, the plot of Apology Tour is Blitz going to go apologize to all of his past enemies, and last will be Stolas. And it's not just enemies, it's also his exes. And after he gives out fake apologies to all of his old enemies or people he wronged, he then goes to a party that is themed after him. Most specifically, how he screwed over so many of these people in this one party that they have an event every year just hating on Blitz. And it showcases the consequences of his actions and how many times he pushes people away, and that emotionally not only affects them but himself too. And we see that he's trying to reconcile that with Stolas after they had their argument in the beginning of the episode and the previous episode, how that's coming to a head here. Whether he needs to let him go or try to reconcile the relationship and hopefully get back together is not important. He needs to first try and improve himself and be a better person. And Veronica Mayday is the one character that enforces that on him when he tries to have the conversation with her. And I like that it's Blitz trying to initiate the conversation first, because it tells me that he is legitimately trying to in some way be better, but he just sucks at it. He's much better at pushing people away and getting them angry at him. And so I am interested now to see how this is going to pan out if he's able to follow through with his promise of trying to be better. And there's also a little moment within that conversation with Veronica that I really like, where she does smile at him when he said that he will try to be better, showcasing that there's still a bit in her that does still care for Blitz and does want him to be better. So I like how this episode is taking some two-dimensional characters at first and giving them even more characterization later on. And I don't know if we're going to see Veronica Mayday later on, though with this conversation, I would love to see what this entire series could possibly do with her, whether she will stay enemies, though I kind of doubt after this conversation. Maybe just people who don't like each other but is willing to let certain things go. I don't know, just a whole lot of things to predict later on, but basically this episode is going to hammer down a lot of problems and showcase it up front on Blitz's face, and now he needs to actually act on his promises on becoming a better person. Now, negativity wise, I would say that this episode focuses too much on Blitz's problems, because to me, Stolas initiated a lot of problems himself in the relationship that they had. So I would love to see a future episode hopefully explore that, and that can rectify these problems I have here, because so far it's just showcasing the problems that Blitz had. I think it will be more interesting if we learn about what Stolas might have done wrong in the relationship, and both of them can hopefully find some sort of common ground by the end of the season. If they don't get together, they could both discover some common ground that can hopefully push their characters forward and give them a bit more development. I think there should have been more focus on stuff Stolas might have done wrong in the relationship, because he initiated a lot of stuff that didn't sit right with Blitz, and it was obvious at first that was just something that he was just willing to do to get that book for his job. So the fact that he says that he loved him in the previous episode, but then Blitz again blew that up on his face and ruined everything. Again, I understand Stolas and why he will be upset, but still a lot of stuff was wrong by him, especially kind of getting estrayed from his family. I feel like that would have been also something interesting to talk about here. But again, I think Bivdy Pop is going to try and save that for a Stolas focused episode, so I'm not going to hold too much judgment against that, because I feel like we are going to focus on that. It's just something that within this episode I wish I could have seen more of, but I feel like that will be a much bigger story later on, so we'll see how that goes. But all in all, this is another really entertaining episode with a few twists and turns here, connecting from season 1 to now, and I really like how things are starting to come full circle here, and that the characters are starting to develop even more so now. Even side characters from the previous season that didn't get too much screen time, like Veronica, I like seeing more characterization from her. Overall, this was a really fun episode, an emotional one too. There really isn't that much humor, but I kind of like it. It helped make the emotional moments hit harder and not be undercut by some sort of joke. And so the episode had a clear identity of what it wanted to do, and it did that just as well as I hoped it would do. I cannot wait for the next episode and how things will start to turn out for our characters. I would love to see more of the IMP gang in other episodes, because I feel like this season is solely focused on Stolas and Blitz for the most part. I would love to see more of Luna, Moxie, and Millie, but that's just me. So far this season is starting to find its footing once again, and these past 4 episodes have been really good. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.